Intestine. And small intestine, we understand, anything beyond the stomach is the small intestine. And small intestine has parts, duodenum, jejunum and ileum. And beyond that, we have cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum and anal canal. And that completes whole of the large and small intestine of our body. So if we go around, these are the objectives for today's learning, where we will be learning about the small intestine and the pancreas. In these 6 lines, everything about small intestine has been covered. So what you need to learn is these 6 lines. If you are good with that, you are good with the whole lecture. Now you are looking at the duodenum. Duodenum is the first part after the stomach, and there you are looking at, this is the pyloric end of the stomach, and there is a sphincter. This sphincter releases the food from the stomach in our small intestine after certain intervals, and this is all has been under control. Beyond that, we have the duodenum, which has different parts of it. And right now you are looking at the second part of the duodenum, which is lying vertical. The first part is horizontal, the second part is vertical, and then third part again horizontal, and then it ascends up, and then this is where the duodenum continues as the jejunum. There is a demarcation point at what place we call that the duodenum ends and jejunum begins, and that is ligaments of Treats is that landmark which is differentiating duodenum from the jejunum. Now if you see the second part of the duodenum, there are these 2 openings. This upper opening, it can be there, it cannot be there. But this lower opening is the main opening, and what this opening is receiving, what this opening is getting the duct, this green duct which is coming from the liver, and it is carrying bile. It changes its name when it meets its fellows at different places. It was hepatic duct at one time, then it joins with the cystic duct, we call it bile duct, it joins and then we call it common bile duct, and ultimately it joins with the pancreatic duct. This is the pancreas. This pinkish thing is the pancreas, which fills this sea. And then they are together, they open into the second part of the duodenum, and they are releasing the juices, and these juices are important for the digestion of the fat and fatty foods. When they reach at this place, the gallbladder contracts. When it contracts, it contains the concentrated bile. And this bile has been released, and then we have secretions from the pancreas. Pancreas is an exocrine and endocrine type of gland, and its secretion also coming, and they are being helpful for digestion of various food materials which is being ingested, and it stays in the stomach, and then it has reached to the duodenum. In the stomach, the pH was acidic, and in the small intestine, in the duodenum and further, it is alkaline in nature. So the pH changes. In those pH, these enzymes, these hormones, they interact with the food whatsoever has been ingested and has been going through. And beyond that, right now I am showing you in the duodenum, the anterior wall, you are looking at the muscle arrangement. This is, Zafar will be explaining the histological pattern of these muscles, how and what is happening there. And there you are looking at the head of the pancreas, and there you are looking at the superior mesenteric artery and vein. Now, how we can differentiate? Because they are the same size tubes. So, how we can differentiate between these tubes is possible under the microscope and gross appearance. On gross appearance, if you look at the duodenum, if you open up the wall, if you see inside, there are very tiny folds which are going circumferentially. They are called as plicas. The same folds are quite big here, and these are also called plica here. But you can see, you can compare the size. They are very short, they are very tall here. And now, for the ileum part, we don't see these folds. And if we have something that is villi, that is not called plica. But in addition, we have some lymphoid aggregation, and these are known as the Pierre patches. And in the duodenum, we have the duodenal glands which are responsible for those secretions. And in the jejunum, we don't have any such arrangement, but we have these long plicas, and they are well established. Are we clear with these? So, why we have these lymphoid aggregation, which are the characteristics for ileum? We have lymphoid aggregation when food or anything enters in our body. You must have been taught the Welldad's ring, and that has been contributed by the palatine tonsils, the lingual tonsils, and the pharyngeal tonsils. So these all tonsils contribute any food, any air, whatsoever enter in our body, that has to go through this investigation. This is a ring which looks into that, scrutinize, is it the right thing, it can be entered or not. If something wrong is entering, these lymphoid aggregation, they create signals. These signals has been generated. In response, our body is now, there is antigen antibody type of reaction come in play. I'm not going in those details, but person, as the simplest manifestation, the person develops fever. And then when it comes here, you might heard the term, you will be hearing the term enteritis, inflammation of the small intestine. And there is a possibility of the inflammation of these pale patches, and people present with a typhoid type of fever. And it has been seen they are associated with that type of inflammatory changes. But on gross appearance, you can differentiate between these three variants of the small intestine. Duodenum has plicae, but they are shortened in height. Jejunum has quite tall plicae, and ileum has no such plicae, but it has those lymphoid aggregation which are known as the Pear patches. Just look into this slide further, we have to enhance. Remember, in this small intestine, if you are not able to differentiate the jejunum from ileum, then you are missing out something very important. So your emphasis should be very good. You should be able to differentiate between the jejunum and ileum. Now, in the jejunum and ileum, the pattern of the arteries who supplies, the arterial supply for the jejunum ileum is different. You can see that these are the branches from the superior mesenteric artery which are supplying to the jejunum and ileum, and there you can see these arteries, they make single set of arches. And then these long arteries which are going to supply these tubes, these are called vasa recta. So we have, in case of jejunum, long vasa recta and one or two arcades. Arterial, can you see these are arc-shaped thing? And if I come to the ileum, you can see the short is as compared to this short vasa recta and more layers of these arterial arcades. Can you see these? To emphasize more, we can see in this image. This is an example we just learned, we were learning it, this is ileum, because we have multi-layer. Can you see multi-layer of arcades? Can you see short vasa recta? This is one of the characteristics. Can you see the presence of the Pear patches? Can you see there are no plicae here? It's flat, it has only villi. Make sense? If you see the structural arrangement, the muscle fibers, the submucosa and mucosa, they are organized like that. So that's the characteristic of ileum. If we go into the jejunum, we can see that. Now you can compare this one with this one. Can you see there's a difference? There's a big difference. So these are the plicae. And you can see that the arterial, you can see only one arcade. And these vasa recta, they are taller than the vasa recta which was shown before. I will take a question at the end, not now. Are we clear so far? Now you can see that jejunum with the plicae and ileum, so there are no plicae. And there are Pear patches. Make sense? So now, on this is you are looking at the large intestine. The cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum and anal canal. So now in between infracolic compartment, this pink area we divided into 4 quadrants. This left upper quadrant, that's an area where we have the jejunum. So jejunum lives here and ileum lives in remaining 3 zones. So we can say, we can differentiate, if we are hunting for jejunum, we should look for this left upper outer quadrant. That's an area where we can locate the jejunum, and ileum can be located in rest of the areas where in the infracolic compartment. Are we good with that? Now, let's fill up this chart. That's the nutshell of last 3 slides. So, the location, jejunum is located where? Upper left of infracolic compartment. Are we good with this? And lower right of infracolic compartment. What it contains? Usually, the jejunum is empty and ileum is full. Caliber is wider, is narrow. Wall thickness is thick. These are all under microscope. You cannot see in this gross. Color is pinkish and it's darker in color. They are in relation to each other. Mucous membrane, plicae, we have seen that. Plicae circularis or circular fold. And then you have Pear patches. Are we good with that? Now the closer to the root, the mesentery fat distribution. We have not seen it yet, but we have seen that the mesentery pattern 1 to 2 arterial arcades, long vasa recta. That is characteristic of jejunum. And 3 to 4 arterial arcades and short vasa recta are the characteristics of the ileum. Guys, this table should be very good on your fingertip. You may find this in 4 different type of exams. You may find it as an MCQ of anatomy, MCQ of histology, OSP of anatomy, OSP of histology. So this table will be addressing 4 different slots. So be good with this. Is this clear to all of you? Now, what was your question?
What's the difference between Belite and Villi in terms of function?
I think this is a histology question. Keep your question, write it somewhere. When Zafar will be talking this, he will be explaining to you. I don't want to go in histology.
Okay.
Yes, Mas.
Doctor, what do you mean by the caliber?
What do you mean by?
The caliber.
Caliber? You don't know what is caliber? Man, it's a simple English. Google it. It will tell you what is caliber. Sorry. If it's a term of medicine, I'm going to explain to you. But it's simple English.
Okay.
Yes. Gross appearance. Gross appearance is comparatively, if it's not disease. Remember, if it is not disease, then it is pinkish. Yes, you are raising your hand, you are not responding. Yes.
It shows it's in the upper right, lower right.
Yeah.
Why does it say when you lower right?
Primarily, it's in the lower compartment. Are we clear so far? Yes. What's the difference between Peyer's patches? Peyer's patches is lymphoid aggregation. And what was your other concern? Huh? Like, yeah, I have shown you. Didn't you saw those? Didn't you saw those? Can't you see that? These are the plicates, these are the Peyer's patches. When I was showing you, where were you? Sleeping? So guys, you need to be good with this table. Now, this point 1 and 2, this is the beginning of the small intestine and this is the end of the small intestine. Right? And not small intestine but jejunum come from here and ileum ends here. So this point 1 is known as duodenojejunal flexure and this point 2 is known as ileocecal junction, where the ileum joins with the cecal. So now between these two, we have this green line, and this green line has a name. We call it the mesentery, number 3. So now, who will tell me what is mesentery? Who will tell me what is mesentery? Yes?
Double peritoneal layer reflecting off the posterior abdominal wall and close intraperitoneal.
So you are saying the double layer of peritoneum which is coming from posterior abdominal wall and enclosing intraperitoneal organ, you call it mesentery. Okay. My next question to you again, what is ligament?
It's the double peritoneal layer between 2 organs or between one organ and the anterior abdominal wall.
And what is omentum?
Omentum is the double peritoneal layer between the stomach and other organs.
Give a big hand to him. If your answers are like this, nobody can cut any of your mark. But if you don't prepare that way, then probably you will not be getting anything. So this has to be very clear. And I'm sure now it has been much clearer to you. Now this point number 3, root of the mesentery. Now I'm going to Yazan. Yazan, why we call it, why is important to us? This point has been explained to you. If you're not answering it, then it means you're not studying. What is the significance of this point number 3, root of the mesentery?
It provides a route for the arteries.
Everybody can say that. What is so particular? You are there when I explain this. It means you are not there physically. Mentally you are not there. I explain it on Wednesday evening. You are standing there. Now, who else was there? Where is Fadi? You cannot speak. Yes, while is there. Be ready with your devices. Yes.
I'm not in the evening lab.
Huh?
I'm not in the evening lab.
Then doesn't matter you are not you are in the evening lab or you are not in the evening lab. It's all about your learning.
Why?
Good.
Allah يهديك.
Mahmoud.
Provides the route for arteries and veins.
It crosses the right medial paracolic gutter.
Something extra, Nabil? No idea. Yes.
Maybe it's like common mesentery that connect both the ileum and the jejunum to the posterior.
Yeah, this is what it is. But what is yes, and you got the answer now.
I think is it what attaches the mesentery to the posterior abdominal?
Yeah, this is exactly what is attached. This was very nicely explained by your friend.
It is the origin of the mesentery itself.
Yes, Seth.
I think maybe pathologically important.
No, not pathologically. Guys, this attachment on the posterior abdominal wall is only 6 inches. This point number 3 is only 6 inches and it accommodates something which is 6 meter. So it goes like a Japanese fan. It encircles the whole loop of jejunum and ileum and they are coming to one common point, like you've seen the fisherman net. When he throws in a water, it is in his hand and the big white thing is in the sea or in the water, and then it closes it up and everything comes back and it becomes a sac. So similarly, the mesentery which is attached, which is going and wrapping the whole length of the jejunum and ileum, which is roughly around 6 meters long, and that has been attached on the posterior abdominal wall at a distance of 6 inches, which is just shown between point number 1 and point number 2. Is that clear? If it's not clear, make it clear. Now, there you can see that the superior mesenteric artery, it gives jejunal and ileal arteries, and this is in between is the mesentery, and this is the place of the posterior attachment. This is only 6 inches, and it covers this something, these all tubes. If I make it a straight, this whole thing becomes around 6 meter, 5 to 6 meter is the length of jejunum and ileum altogether, and it comes and get attached to the posterior abdominal wall at a 6-inch attachment site. Now, if you can see now in this the similar picture, but here it's made very clear to you. You can see the one arterial arcade and you can see the long vasa recta. If you compare this segment with this segment, can you differentiate?
Yes.
So many arcades and short vasa recta, and you can see the long vasa recta. So that really demarcates the jejunum from ileum. This is classic ileum, this is classic jejunum. In between, we have little bit transition. Is this clear? So this is the diagnostic point which is being used, because if we are operating on somebody, we cannot cut his intestine. Color is not helpful at that time because it may be a diseased person. It's not a normal person where you are opening the abdomen. So you may not find a pink color. So you may find some other color because there is some insult which has happened to the human body. So in that context, we have to be good with that. But here you have seen very clearly what is meaning of long vasa recta and what is short vasa recta and what is the one arterial arcade and what are the many arterial arcades. I hope this point is clear. And now the pancreas, if you want to study the pancreas, just think pancreas as a stick. The stick, any old man stick, asa, it has a handle. The place where it begins, that we call it, is the uncinate process of the pancreas. Then this whole thing is the head, and this is where the neck, this is the body, and this is the tail. If you think it like a stick, it lies horizontally in human body, and these are the different parts. It fills this sea of the dirt, and this sea is made by the first part, the second part, third part, and fourth part. Remember, the first part of the duodenum is first inch is intraperitoneal. The first inch of the first part of the duodenum is intraperitoneal. Remaining is retroperitoneal. Yeah, on that day, if you were asking me about spleen, I have rechecked my presentation. It was showing it spleen is intraperitoneal. Why you are bringing the concept of retroperitoneal? It was clearly written there. I saw it. when I was just reviewing it, it is intraperitoneal organ. Anyway, so this is 1, 2, 3 and 4 parts of the duodenum, and this is the pancreas, which is shown going horizontally. Now, this is the aorta and this is the inferior vena cava. And this is how the pancreas crosses it horizontally. So pancreas goes like that. This is the head, this is the neck, this is the body, and that's the tail. Uncinate is not shown here. This is the C of the duodenum, it wraps around. And there you are looking at the first part, second part and third part. And these are the superior mesenteric vein and artery. The head, uncinate process, body and tail. And this is the pancreatic duct, which comes and opens in the second part of the duodenum in common with the bile duct, common bile duct. They go together at this ampulla of Vater. The place where they are opening is guarded by a valve which is known as ampulla of Vater. It's a name. Ampulla of Vater. So major duodenal papillae or papillae of Vater or ampulla of Vater. That's the name. And if we have additional pancreatic duct, it's not necessary that everyone have it. That's called minor duodenal papillae, and this is the accessory, and this is the common hepatic artery. What I'm trying to show you here is a portal vein. This is my splenic artery. Now the differentiation, before going to that, what you are looking at here in this picture, this is a real picture of a cadaver.
Dorsal.
Tell me, what is this organ?
Liver.
Liver. And what's that?
Gallbladder.
What's that?
Duodenum.
This is pancreas. Let's label it. Body of the pancreas, neck, head, tail.
The C.
Duodenum,
C of
gallbladder, liver and spleen. This is how. And you can refer to this picture. This is an exact picture from this same image. Now, what has happened? We have opened the greater omentum. We have given incision. We want to see what are the things which we learn in the stomach bed. We use this word stomach bed, omental bursa, lesser sac, interchangeably used terms. So what you can see here, when you cut at this place, you lift the stomach. Under the stomach, these are the structures who make the posterior boundary of omental bursa. Posterior wall. So there you can see who makes that. The pancreas is shown. The body and tail of the pancreas is shown. Neck, body and tail. You can see the splenic artery. You can see partially the celiac trunk. You can see the left kidney, left suprarenal, transverse mesocolon, part of the spleen. These are the structures who are making my stomach bed or omental bursa. These are the boundaries and all what is being there. Who's anterior, who's posterior, who's superior, who's inferior, all has been mentioned here. And this, can you see this red line in between? Behind the stomach, this red area is the same place. This is a transverse section which is explaining. And this big thing, this big grey thing is the liver. Are you good with this?
Okay.
Now, if someone has inflammation of the pancreas, we call it pancreatitis. Itis at the end of the word. It means inflammation of the pancreas. If someone have inflammation of the pancreas, there is release of chemical. There is release of chemical into this space. And if this pancreas is inflamed, who are the people whose pancreas is being inflamed? Those who are heavy consumer of alcohol, those who are suffering from cirrhosis of liver, those who are having stones in their gallbladder or bile duct. They can be affected by this disease. Now, once these chemicals has been liberated into this space, it's a chemical burn. You know, you put your finger in any fire, your finger got burned. So once these chemicals has been liberated within our abdominal cavity, they burn whole of the cavity. And these patients need to be hospitalized. They have to be kept in HDU or ICUs. These are not normal situations. If you don't intervene, people can die of this condition. These are very serious illnesses. As a result of that, because we have release of these chemicals which has been liberated from this pancreas, which has become inflamed, and once these chemicals, they come in contact with the peritoneal organs, they burn them. There is an internal burn which is not visible to us. So, and they cause significant disasters. So peritonitis is a very bad situation. In some of the people, we may have an accumulation of a fluid and there is a cyst formation is been occurring, we call it pseudopancreatic cyst. It's not a classic cyst, I don't want to go in this detail. Just remember, there is an accumulation of fluid which is being liberated from the pancreas and we call it pseudocyst. Why we call it pseudocyst? Its lining is not like a classic cyst. What is a cyst? Ask in histology lecture. He will explain you what is a cyst and what is that. Are we clear so far? Are we clear with your mental bursa? Are we clear with the stomach bed? So these are the structure who makes the stomach bed. Now you can see in this image, this is the stomach, this is the pancreas. Can you see the space in between?
Yes.
This is my lesser side. This is the epiploic foramina. This arrow is indicating, and you are entering into this space. And this space is also known as omental bursa, lesser sac, stomach bed. Same structure has many names. Right? This section was taken at the first lumbar vertebrae. Guys, in GI, the levels are very important. We will be asking you in a big way blood supply and the levels. So be good with the levels. What happens at what level? So now we talk about the blood supply of the stomach. We have discussed in TBL. On that day I asked you a question. Gastroduodenal artery, what branches does it give? Someone answered that. So you can see now. Gastroduodenal artery, it gives these two branches. One is anterior, one is posterior. They are pancreatico-duodenal arteries, which are the continuation of the gastroduodenal arteries, and they are coming down. And then this is my superior mesenteric artery. It gives inferiorly the pancreatico-duodenal. One is anterior, one is posterior. So they meet together. Now that makes the head of the pancreas carries double blood supply. It has double origin. Part of it develops from foregut. Part of it develops from midgut. So the part which develops from the foregut, that part is supplied by the artery of the foregut. And the part which develops from midgut, that part is getting its blood supply from the artery of the midgut. The artery of the foregut is the celiac trunk, and artery of the midgut is the superior mesenteric artery. And there you can see the contribution paid by this superior mesenteric artery is the artery of midgut, celiac trunk is the artery of the foregut, and they are supplying the head of the pancreas as well as part of the duodenum. The body, neck and tail of the pancreas, they are getting their blood supply from the splenic artery. But this head has dual supply. Guys, if you remember your MSK, anything which was bit unusual was always an exam indicator. So be good with these terms, what I've used right now. Are we good with that so far? Now we can see it again. So these are the structures who are related anteriorly to the pancreas. You can see that on the sides we have the kidney, suprarenal, spleen, and behind we have these big vessels. And anteriorly we can see the transverse colon, which is being shown, cut in front of you. And we can see that, and this is how the parietal peritoneum covers them all. So they all are being covered like that. So the anterior relations, and these are the detached part. This is the mesentery, number 2 point is the root of the mesentery, and this number 1 was the transverse mesocolon. Now, the pain, if somebody has pancreatitis or pain, so 3 situations, epigastric pain. It can be from stomach, can be from duodenum, can be from pancreas. How we differentiate? The pain which is coming from pancreas, that pain usually radiates to the back. And this pain never related to the food. The pain which is not related to the food, it's very severe. Person's condition gets so bad, that is pancreatic pain. It's the dermatomal relationship explains it emerged in, because you remember I told you the derivatives of foregut. If they have any problem, their pain will be radiating towards the epigastric region. The derivatives of midgut, their pain will be radiating to the umbilical region, and the derivatives of hindgut, their pain will be radiating to the hypogastrium or the suprapubic region. So this is how we can differentiate. If somebody present in the clinic with the pain in the epigastrium, we should think of foregut derivatives. If somebody present with the pain around the umbilicus, we should think of the derivatives of the midgut. And if somebody present with the pain above the pubic bone in the suprapubic region or the hypogastric region, that means these are the hindgut derivatives, and this is how classically the pain has been radiated to this side. So now there you can see the midgut, hindgut and the foregut derivatives and how these different pains can be manifest. Even the pain of the appendix, it presents around the umbilicus, then it radiates to the right lower quadrant, right iliac fossa, it radiates downwards. but classically it starts around the umbilicus. Thank you very much.